This video is brought to you by Sportland, quality, integrity, and tradition. Well, it's about 7 p.m. on New Year's Eve 2022. Got a walk-in freezer not working, and it's warm in here. It's like 30 degrees, so fans are not running, breakers are on, so let's hop onto the roof and see what we can find. All right, walk-in freezer condenser right here. What is going on here? Nothing's running. It does have a manual reset on the pressure control. Well, let's pull the cover off. All right, we come over here and we've got a green LED light on the defrost clock. Defrost clock has the right time. So why is it not turning on if the defrost clock should be telling it to turn on? I'm gonna go ahead and put service gauges on this guy and see if we have refrigerant pressures in it. All right, I'm trying to beat the rain because it's currently raining outside, everything's wet. Put gauges on it, and we have no suction pressure. We have 117 PSI on the high side. So let's open this up and look at that pressure control, check power across it and see if it's open. All right, pressure control is definitely open. So why do we have low pressure? The thermostat should be calling, or the defrost clock is not sending power downstairs. So let's go over and look at this defrost clock. All right, on the defrost clock from 1 to N, we have 208 volts. And then from, we wanna go 4 to N, which should be this one right here. 4 to N, we have 211 volts. So that means that we're sending power downstairs to the thermostat, and something's interrupting it. It should be from the thermostat going to the liquid line solenoid valve, opening up the liquid line solenoid valve, telling the system to turn on, and it's not. So we need to go down there and figure out what's going on. All right, I'm a little out of breath because I just had to clear a bunch of boxes off the shelf. I've got a slight burning smell in this area right here, so let's open this up and see what kind of surprises unlock for us here. I have a feeling something happened in here and went boom. What do we got going on? Well, that limit switch looks suspect. I can get this off. And then let's come around this side and have a look at this thermostat. We don't have a display at all, and we should have a display on that thermostat. So something's going on there. Let's get in here and start electrically troubleshooting. All right, if we look at the schematic, 4 powers one side of the thermostat, and N powers the other side of the thermostat. So 4 and N. So N is right there, or that's actually 4, and that's N. So we have 211 volts. So that thermostat should be lit up, and it's not. So let me see if this power switch right here shuts this off. I shut it off right there. Seems like it does, but I need to double check to ground because I don't know if that's a 2-pole switch. Yeah, it only breaks one leg. Don't ever trust these switches on walk-in freezers. I've got 120 volts to ground still, so we need to go shut off a breaker and figure out why. That limit switch right there is a problem too, so we'll have to bypass it temporarily for sure. All right, that limit switch is actually the defrost termination switch, so I took it out of the picture because if you bypass it, it's just gonna terminate defrost right away, and we don't want that. So I need to get back to this thermostat, but there's like no room right here, so it's tight. Looking at this guy right here, I can see the power wires on the 240 in common, so I'm gonna get my meter in there and test and see what is going on. It's a bit tight back there though. If I have it connected correctly, we have no power at the thermostat. So we need to follow those wires back to the, see if there's a break somewhere. That's interesting. I think I have them connected right. It seems like we have a break somewhere in here, but which makes sense because I smell something burning, but I gotta be careful because I turned power back on. So I don't know if it's rubbing up against that. It's one of these wires, should be broken. I need to trace them back to the board. Okay, so that's one right here. That's one wire right there. That's going to N. And then the number 4 wire is right here. This is the number 4 wire, so I need to get back in there and figure out what's going on, but we have voltage at the moment, so I don't want it to blow up on me with my face this close to it, so gotta go turn off power and kind of investigate a little bit more. I had that power switch turned off. Now I've got 211 volts at this guy, so it's a bad thermostat. All right, I'll go to my van and get a thermostat for this guy. Well, I wasn't about to deal with the whole digital control tonight, so I got down and dirty. I really don't like these, but it's super easy to install this. So wired it in, secured the bulb in the return airstream, wired it to one side of the solenoid valve. So we should be able to turn it on. I'm still a little concerned though, because I don't know what that burning smell was. The controller is right here. Definitely some water damage, some corrosion up in here. I don't necessarily see anything that is burnt. And I just smelled the heck out of it and I don't smell anything. Well, let's clean up my messes, turn it on and see if it works. Again, this is a New Year's Eve special, so this is not a big picture diagnosis kind of night. I will come back next week. I want to go home and ring in the new year with my family. And listen closely, you can hear the solenoid valve opening. The fan delay is working, so it's got to get cold enough for the fans to turn on. So we're going to give it a few minutes, wait for the fans to turn on. I'm going to start putting all the panels on, and then we'll jump back up on the roof. All right, it is moving air and it's cold, so that's a really good sign. We're going to watch it come down in temp a little bit, and I'm going to go up top, look at the sight glass. I got my gauges on it anyways. I don't like those controls, but you know, got to do what you got to do on New Year's Eve night to get them running, right? This equipment's in bad shape anyways. If I remember right, I'm pretty sure it has refrigerant leaks in it. And it's older equipment, so like I said, we'll come back and follow up. But let's head up top and see how everything's running up there. All right, well, we are running. The sight glass is clear. I love those Sporlan Sea-Alls, big giant guys. All right. Thank goodness these guys can handle a little bit of water. All right. I'd say it's probably 50 degrees outside. This is saying 63, but that's getting the air from the condenser. So let's see, I've got this little thermocouple right here. See if we can get this guy in the air. It's dropping down to 55, 53, yeah. So it's probably below 50 outside right now. I'm gonna watch it run for a little while. Both condenser fan motors are running, so that's a good sign. See, now it's coming up to 60, so I don't know what the heck's, I think it's just getting bad air. But it's like 50 something degrees outside. Anyways, all right, well, we're gonna take the gauges off, and then we'll head downstairs and watch the box drop down in temp, and this will be a to be continued for sure. Well, it's getting pretty cold in here, but one thing I will say is it never got that warm because they've got ice cube trays right here that are still frozen, so it's still below 32, but still ice cream's just completely thawed out. But we will definitely be back to follow up. All right, I am back. I got here today, and they had just put away a delivery, so the box was actually off, so I just turned it on, but they have no complaints. And they have ice cream right here that is hard, so that's a really good sign if you're working on a freezer. If the ice cream is hard and it's been in there for a long time, it means it's been below -5. -5 for it to be firm. We keep the box temperature at -10, so the ice cream's still servable. If it was like production, you might keep it at -20, but yeah, ice cream's good, so that's a really good sign. Let's just take a walk up onto the roof and see how everything is up there. Coming up to the equipment, we've got a clear sight glass. Everything's running. Don't see any issues here. So we're good to go. We're gonna go ahead and bring to their attention that we should order a new defrost termination switch, but it'll run fine until they make that decision. And yeah, we're gonna give them the keys and tell them to keep an eye on it. New Year's Eve, gotta love that one, right? That one was stunk too, because I was on call, so I wasn't drinking or anything, But I was like, you know, it's coming late in the evening, and it's like maybe I'll have a drink, and then, you know, of course, that's why you don't when you're on call. Trust me, don't, because the moment that you do, that's when you're going to get the call. So I was a little frustrated. You know, it's funny. So my last video was the walk-in freezer that the breaker was left off. That was actually the day before New Year's Eve. So that was December 30th. Okay. And so when they called me on this one, I called them. I'm like, hey, did you guys check the breaker? And I like quizzed them. Are you sure? How, like, was it a big breaker? Was it a small breaker? Are you sure? How many breakers are there for the walk-in freezer? I was asking them all these questions, right? Because there's only one breaker. It's controlled off the condensing unit on the roof. So it was just a 3-phase breaker. But I made sure you guys checked it, right? And then when I got there, I told them, I was like, I'm sorry. I don't mean to like quiz you guys so much. It's because I literally went on a call day before and it was just a breaker that was off. So once I got there, jumped on the roof, avoiding the rain as much as possible. I kind of got lucky on that front. Found that, you know, the temperature controller wasn't working, obviously. And man, those things are installed in a horrible location. It's funny, too, because on this same evaporator coil at another location, the schematic is incorrect, and it was actually wired incorrect. So the temp control would only get powered when the limit switch closed. I don't know if you guys remember that video, but that one was a disaster. I ended up fixing that and rewiring it. But this one, the schematic did not show that incorrect wiring diagram. So they must have just had a bad batch of them or something. But got this thing wired up, got the new temperature controller put back in there. You know, I'm not a fan of using those mechanical stats anymore. I really do prefer digital, but that's all that I had. I shouldn't say that's all that I had. That's all that I was willing to install on New Year's Eve night because I wanted to get home to ring in the new year with my family. So installed it. It's been working fine. I did go back and do follow-ups. It's funny too. I didn't say it in the video, but when I went back to do the follow-up, I walk in the box. Actually, no, when I went back to do the follow-up, everything was fine. You guys saw that in the video. I went back there a couple days later to work on something else, and I walked into the walk-in freezer and the ice cream was soft, and I was like, what's going on? You know, like, oh no, for real, still a problem. So I jump on the roof and the condensing unit's running, and I'm like, what's going on? Clear sight glass. I go inside and then I go ask one of the cooks. Now, normally I don't get cooks involved. I always talk to management, okay? But this time I got the cook involved, and I said, hey, the guy that was working in the prep area, I said, was the walk-in freezer breaker turned off? And he doesn't speak very good English, but he was like, yeah. He goes, I just turned it on. And I go, was it off since last night? And he goes, yeah, I think so. And I was like, okay, cool. Right on. So then I grabbed the manager and I said, hey, I just walked in your freezer. I wasn't here for that, just to check it. And everything was soft. And then I asked your cook, and he said the breaker had been off. I said, did you guys get a delivery yesterday? And she goes, yeah. And I go, they left it off yesterday and just turned it back on right now. And she's like, really? And then she talks to him and comes in there, and I go, yeah. I said, I came in here just to make sure, you know, again, because I want to make sure my equipment's working, right? I want to make sure that the work that I do is proper. So I'm always double checking. When I go to a location, I'm always looking around. Every single one of this particular restaurant chains and a lot of my other restaurants, if I'm there for something else, I always walk in. If I'm on the roof, I walk by every exhaust fan, check them, just to eliminate a service call. If I'm in the building, I walk into the walk-in freezer and walk-in cooler just to check on them. Like, because I'm just looking out for my customer and I'm looking out for myself. If I can eliminate a late night service call, I want to do that, right? I don't like opening up supply houses. I don't like doing anything. I prefer not to do that. So I do everything I can to get a customer going. But anyways, as I've gone off on a tangent, as I usually do, I ended up getting the equipment back up and running, got the customer, you know, to the point that the equipment was good, came back out, followed up. I did bring to their attention, I still want to change that limit switch. I haven't picked that up yet. We'll get to that eventually. Actually, they haven't approved it yet, but I'll go ahead and order it because I know they will. And we'll deal with that. But for now, defrost termination doesn't happen. It just runs the full course of the 30-minute defrost until, you know, we figure that out. And with this particular customer, honestly, it's not going to hurt anything because they leave the door open all the time. So it is what it is. You know, I want to say, again, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate you guys. It is awesome. It's very humbling. You know, I know that it's now, today I'm recording this, it's January 11th of 2023, but I want to say thank you to everybody again for the previous year. The success of the YouTube channel, HVACR videos, has been awesome. And it's because you guys appreciate the videos and you watch the videos. So thank you so very much. I really do appreciate you all. I hope to continue to share my knowledge with you, the little bit of knowledge that I have, and hope that you guys get something from it, okay? If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. There's a couple different ways you can support the channel if you're interested in doing so. PayPal, Patreon, YouTube channel memberships. There's links in the show notes. The easiest way to support the channel is just watch the videos. That's super easy, right? You can also go to my website, hvacrvideos.com, buy merchandise. You can go to truetech.tools.com if you're interested in purchasing any tools. I have an offer code, big picture, one word. You get an 8% discount on majority of the items on their website. And when you do that, I get a small commission from TrueTech Tools for your purchase. So it's another cool way to help support the channel. You have great prices. If you use my discount code, it helps out even more. And then, like I said, I get a small commission from that. So it's a great way to help support the channel. So thank you so very much. I really do appreciate you again. And we will catch you on the next one, okay?